everybody, my name's Mike. I'm with The Color of Mud. This is a video series for a dragon head build, a large dragon head build, about 5 feet. And it's for the Dragon Research Collaborative. It'll be in the Natural History Museum in Martinsville, Virginia a little later this year. If you haven't seen the earlier videos or the introduction to the series, check the links below. Today we're going to be building the second eye for the dragon. So if you saw the earlier video, I built this ring and framing for the eye where it attaches to the rest of the head. But today we're actually going to build the electronics because this is a lit eye, just to light it up for you. So I went ahead and built the first one, and today we're going to build the second one. Let me go ahead and adjust this camera a little bit so you can see it a bit better. So that is the eye. You can see it's a half of a crystal ball, crystal sphere. And it's all lit up with LED lights. So I'm going to go through the whole build process on this. Okay, this is my electronics bench. It's pretty messy right now. I haven't had time to clean it up, so you have to bear with me. But we're going to start first with the plate that the LEDs will mount to. So I've got to map out a grid on here of how I'm going to lay them out. I've already got my circle drawn. That's my edges of where the LED strip lighting is going to go. And then we're going to lay down the strip and hook it all up. There we go. All lined out. So we're going to be using this this LED strip. There we go. So we'll be able to cut at each one of these marks to the right length to fill up as much of this circle as we can. And I still have to leave a little room around the circle for the wires to be connected. Okay, so that's all our LED strip laid out. Now we've got to come in and solder wire to each side. So what I'm going to do is hook up all the negative side of these. They're all marked with a negative symbol. Hook all those up and then hook up all the positive on the other side, and then we'll bring them together at the end where the wire will come off of here. That's basically how you hook those up. I'm going to use some real small gauge wire. This is actually from an Ethernet cable, a network cable that you might use at home. Okay, first I'm going to start by tinning all the connections. So I'm just going to tin the negatives on one side and then the positives on the other. Okay, there we have our tinning. Let's see it here if I can get the focus. There we go. So the next we'll take our wire, and it's tough to see, but strip back a little bit and work it around to each one of these tin spots, piece by piece, and then we'll end up with wire coming off. Okay, before I start attaching the wires here going around, I wanted to trim this out so it fit in our bracket for the eye. This is how the eye mounts to the rest of the frame. And this actually slides in like this. And then we've got where we can adjust it a little bit to center it. So we should be able to adjust it now that those little slots are cut out to allow for these to come through. So we should be ready to go to start wiring this up. Okay, we've got all our wires soldered up here. Just a close-up view of it. And I'm going to bring a wire in down here and connect to these 2 points next. But I need to bring it through the back here, so I got to drill a couple holes down here, right in this area, and then we'll thread the longer wire that's going to connect up to both the eyes through here and solder it on. Okay, moment of truth. We've got everything wired up here. I've got my power supply, voltage regulator plugged in. Here we go. Nice. Next thing to do is mount this into the bracket, the frame for the eye, basically, like this one has up here, with the print and the glass and all that. I'm not sure what happened here, but I lost audio recording, so I'm going to narrate through this. What I'm doing is gluing down all the wiring. So this wiring really has to be secure. Once it's sculpted basically into the head, we won't be able to get back to this very easily at all. So I'm gluing down all those little wires. Next, I'm using some sheets or a sheet of cork, and I'm going to cut a ring out of it here that I'm marking, because we don't want to mount directly onto that metal for a couple reasons. I was concerned that impacts and things like that would end up damaging the LED strip if the metal hit it. The other thing is it's not a perfect fit between the metal and that wood, and we want to keep the light contained in there. We don't want it leaking out around the eye. So I wanted something to make like a seal, almost like a gasket. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm gluing that down onto the metal, and then in a second we're gonna put the board with the LED strip on here once it's mounted. There we go. Makes a nice sandwich. Just putting on the nuts to tighten everything down now, and making sure everything lines up with the printed eye. These tabs will hold on that board, but if we did have to remove this, we could potentially unbolt these tabs and pull everything apart from inside the head. It would be tough to do, but it does give the possibility just in case something happened. I'm plugging a couple holes here with some electrical tape, just again to keep the light from leaking out around the eye. And I'm gluing it in with some hot glue because I don't want that tape to sort of be floating around loose in there later on down the road. Next up, I've got to get the eye aligned over the LED lights as best I can so it's centered. So I lit up the lights and centered it, and then we're marking out the right spots to put the screws down through the ring that holds the glass eye down. Just gotta tighten that down. And there we go. A little bit of wiring work here to plug both of them in. Okay, well, we've got it all together. Both the eyes are wired up here together, so we can give it a try. There we go. Let me adjust the camera a little bit so you can see the coloring. There we go. They look pretty good. I thought I might have to adjust the voltage up a little bit. We're running at about 9.5 volts, 9.6 volts. But they actually look pretty good. So we'll have to play with it a little bit in the room and see what it looks like. But I do have the ability to brighten or dim these as we see fit to a point. You can't put too much voltage into them because they'll overheat, burn out, things like that. So I probably won't go above 10 volts, but this is the system I have for doing that. It's a 12 volt, 10 amp power supply. It's a little bit of overkill for this, but better safe than sorry. This is a voltage regulator, and it's set to about 9.6 volts right now. All this stuff has to get put into a nice case and installed inside the Dragon head. I'll be designing that and 3D printing it, so we have a nice plug on it and a switch on the back and everything like that, so all this wiring is protected. But we're looking pretty good. Next thing to do with these is to install them into the head and orientate them a little better. I kind of guesstimated about where the iris is, but it may be a little off to the left or right once it's installed into the frame. So we'll be able to take these off, adjust that, and then finish the final gluing of that paper down. And I think we'll be looking pretty good there. Next steps that I have to work on is the horns, and I have to make the frame, or the stand, let's call it, that the head's going to sit on so it can be pushed up against the wall. And then I'm done after that, and it's going to move on to my wife doing all the sculpting, the muscle work, the jaws, the teeth, the horns, all that kind of stuff. So she's got a lot of work, and she's kind of chomping at the bit to get these eyes in the frame and get to it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't for the next video coming out in the series. If you haven't seen the earlier videos, check the links below and check those out. Check out our website, thecolormud.com. There's more information on who's involved in this project. And catch you guys next time. Thanks.